Trump. The first category is character.
Speaking of which, you know, if we're bringing up stuff from the past, we can say she slept with Willie Brown, broke up a family just to get her job. And
She got 4.5 million votes to get into AG and DA and slept with 0 of them.
You don't know
How
that,
do you feel
though.
about Donald
Do you know
Trump?
that? No.
Okay,
Absolutely
so
not.
you think that she slept with 4.5 million people?
But the one
Wait,
person that
are
she
you
did
serious?
was the most important person.
Did you just say that she had to sleep with 4.5 million
No.
people? My name is Dean Withers. I'm a 19-year-old liberal. I do political debate for a living, and today I'm surrounded by 20 Trump supporters. My first claim is Donald Trump is
Yeah, so I don't understand how people get this idea that Trump is, you know, my family came from a communist country. They came from Cuba and they came from Mexico. So I don't see anything or any statement that he's ever made that's, I mean, there's things that there's accusations, but there's no facts behind it.
Yeah.
And this whole idea that all
Speak to it,
Hispanics
King.
are illegal immigrants and they came here and
This, for the record, that guy in the blue suit has a record of stalking. Isn't he also like a Republican operative? Am I crazy?
documented is not true because my family came here on both sides through the legal immigration process, not illegally here.
Okay, so that was a bold claim. You just said that, you know, there's no facts to substantiate the idea that Donald Trump is going to be. So in the 1970s, there's civil litigation held against him by the DOJ of the state of New York for literally not renting to black people. What they did is they'd send in quote unquote testers to his rental properties at the time. They'd send in a white person. The white person would ask the property manager if they had any available properties to rent. They'd say, yes, here we go, here's housing application. Then they'd send in a black tester that asked the same question, and then they'd actually be denied. When this was investigated by the DOJ, the property manager told them that this was just a quote unquote order from the higher up, from this boss, from Donald Trump. And then they investigated Donald Trump, brought civil litigation against him, and they essentially determined that, he wasn't renting to black people, in which he then had to promise the DOJ that he was no longer going to racially profile in his housing application, and even had to put ads in the New York newspaper at the time, saying that he'd rent to black people.
So what you're saying is basically he's not renting to black people, but yet he employs a lot of minorities. He employs a lot of blacks, Asians, Hispanics onto his staff. So why wouldn't he be renting to black people? That doesn't make any sense. Also,
because it's an example,
but also is an example that the Department of Justice is against people that do something in life.
Can you give me any evidence for that?
I'll give you evidence of that. Yes, I will, because Trump was political for a very long time. He made political statements. He was very unpopular with a lot of Democrats. He would say things that they didn't like, and they would go after him. They would use the Department of Justice,
but that's
just like they are right now. They're using the Department of Justice against him. They're using the government for their political power to go against him because they disagree with his political opinion. That's what they do. The Democrats have been going after him for years, even considering he used to be a registered Democrat. So I don't believe that Trump is whatsoever. I don't see that because I see his employees. I've been to a lot of his properties in the past, and I know that he hires a lot of minorities. So I don't believe that to be true.
Okay, so your claim here is that, well, he actually didn't do what the DOJ accused him and held him liable for doing.
Yeah, but the DOJ says a lot of things that doesn't make it true.
If I finish real quick? So you're saying that the DOJ actually was unfairly persecuting Donald Trump, a political opponent. In the 70s, he wasn't running for any public office, so I don't know why you'd say that was a political opponent. But maybe we could look at a more intuitive example.
Well, he's made political statements in the 70s as well.
Okay,
So,
okay. So your claim is that, the DOJ was unfairly persecuting him. Do you have any evidence of that?
if you go back, do you have any evidence why the DOJ was investigating him in the first place?
Yeah, because they'd gotten
no, there's no evidence.
Yeah,
I mean, the
do.
DOJ has been an illegitimate organization for a very long time.
Okay.
So they make a lot of statements, but it doesn't mean that they're gonna actually that they actually go through with anything. Nothing really happened at the end of the day. It was just a witch hunt at the end of the day.
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't think you'd have any evidence for the claim that it was a witch hunt. I think that at the end of the day, this is a conspiracy theory. I think that Donald Trump
Conspiracy theory.
Mind if I finish real quick? Thanks. So I think that at the end of the day, this is going to be a conspiracy theory. I think that the DOJ does this. I'm sorry, that Donald Trump would perpetuate a lot of conspiracy theories. He did this with the outcome of the 2020 election. But let's look at another example that's not coming from like the DOJ or like the criminal justice system. And we're like referencing like 2012 through 2014. Donald Trump said that because Barack Obama is black, he's obviously not a U.S.-born citizen. So therefore, he
did not say that he was black. He's not a U.S.-born citizen.
Well, let's talk about the birther movement, right? So I just have a quick question. Would you say trying to take
there was legitimacy questioning his?
Oh, damn, dude. So when they put up the flags that, for those of you who don't remember the rules, if they put up 11 flags, then he has to get swapped out. But because I think Trump supporters are, I believe, than Kamala supporters are. The people are probably not going to throw up the flags as fast.
Birth certificate.
Questioning his birth certificate. What's the legitimacy there?
Questioning because his family came from Kenya. How is he running for president?
Wait, Donald Trump's mother is a Scottish immigrant. Should we question his birth certificate?
They came here through the legal process. He didn't come here through the legal process.
Wait, so you're saying that Obama's parents were undocumented migrants? One second, I just want to clarify this.
Disqualified him as president.
I just want to answer a question.
Which would have disqualified.
I want to ask you a question.
Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who I'm friends
question?
with, Sheriff Joe Arpaio, who I'm friends with, looked into the claims of that birth certificate, and there was questions of whether it was falsified.
Wait,
so
you actually believe that?
Yes, I do believe that.
Okay, so you were just like Donald Trump.
I'm not.
Do you mind
Oh,
if I-
wow, you're calling a Hispanic and a Cuban.
Do you mind if
Oh my God, my man thought he deployed that. He thought he had that locked the down, dude. Nice. Wow, I can't believe you're calling a Cuban Latino man or.
What if I take 30 seconds here? All right. So first of all, yes.
Another white liberal. All right.
All right. Want to start where you guys left off?
Yeah, I think that hopefully we could slow things down a little bit here, have some productive conversation. So, how about I just start off by giving you my reasons why I think that Donald Trump is so. With the last guy, we kind of touched on the civil litigation that was held against him in the 1970s for not renting to black people. But I want to focus upon a more intuitive example, proponing the idea that Barack Obama was not a U.S.-born citizen. So first, I just want to ask you a very simple question. Would you say trying to take away opportunity from a black man because he's black is?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, yes, I do believe that.
Okay.
But I think we also have to look into what the administration when he was in office did, not what happened back in 1970 when he wasn't even in office and it was a complete different administration making the rules.
Okay.
When he was in office, he gave opportunity zones, gave funding to HBCUs. He also implemented the First Step Act, which I feel like liberals really focus on,
The HBCUs, dude. Every administration has funded HBCUs. And I don't remember the exact details, but the Trump administration's funding of HBCUs was not exactly, the Trump administration's HBCU funding wasn't exactly great either.
prison system has a majority of African Americans in there. So we gave them an opportunity to get out early, to start a new life. So I think if we're going to go back and look at some stuff of the 1970s, that's not really fair because there's a lot of people on the Democrat side that have done worse things while in office. Joe Biden, who when he was a senator, pushed to get African Americans incarcerated at a higher rate. Like actions speak louder than words at the end of the day. And what Trump did in office helped the black community at an exponential amount compared to all the other administrations on the Democratic Party.
Okay, so you're saying what he did in office helped African Americans more than other administrations.
Yeah.
You referenced historically black universities.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how much funding he sent to HBCUs?
A decent amount. I can't give you the exact
So the
numbers.
exact amount was $250 million per year.
Okay.
Do you know how much Obama's administration and Biden's administration have sent?
I would like to hear.
Obama sent $1 billion a year, and Biden sent $4 billion a year. So not only did he decrease funding to historically black universities, all right, but also you referenced the First Step Act there. How did Donald Trump influence the First Step Act to get passed?
Through Congress.
Well, how did he influence that bill through Congress?
Answer that question for me.
Because he didn't influence it. In fact, it was proposed to Congress under Obama's administration, and it was shot down. Then something else I did want to
But at the end of the day, as president, he has the ability to sign or send a bill back to Congress, and he signed it. If he was truly, he would not have signed it in the first place.
Okay, but
But at the end of the day, he still signed it. He has that ability. Just like every president before, if they don't like a bill, they have the ability to send it right back to Congress, and there's congressional means to get it passed without the president's approval. But still, he signed it. If he's really, why did he sign it in the first place?
Yeah, well, I don't think that we could just ignore Trump saying that Obama isn't a U.S.-born citizen and he's probably from Kenya, right? I don't think that we could ignore.
But here's the
do you mind if I
thing,
finish here, sir?
Okay, go ahead.
I don't think that we could ignore the civil litigation against him in the 1970s for not renting to black people. I don't think we could ignore his recent comments about Kamala Harris saying that she turned black, implying that she wasn't black prior, just because he signed the First Step Act into law. Like, I understand that does do something for the African-American community, but I don't think we could say because he did this one thing that all of these other examples are null and void. You also referenced Joe Biden there. I have no problem saying that Joe Biden has a past. And in fact, I think that's something I need to recognize and we should all recognize. But what I can't stand is when I hear people denying Trump's, saying it never occurred when it's so obvious.
But at the end of the day, what I'm trying to explain right now is that Biden has signed bills into law, voted for them that hurt the community. Trump has not done anything to that extent. Sure, he says some things were maybe a little bit iffy way back. You're citing things from back in the 1970s that did not even have that he couldn't even sign a law or anything like that because he wasn't even in office.
Okay. I guess where I want to start with is looking at the actual word. I think nowadays it's a word that people throw around kind of like the word love. It is a very powerful word. It has a lot of negative connotation. It has a lot of power that comes with it. When I think of millions of Jews. When I think of the Ottoman Turks, 1.5 million of my people. I think of that. I don't think of Trump, who maybe he said things in the past, this or that. If we want to go about talking about saying things, Biden said Obama is one of the first mainstream blacks to be bright and intelligent. He said that you can only walk into a 7-Eleven if you have an Indian accent. He has said that if you vote for Trump over him, you're not black. He said so many of these things in his past, and the prompt is talking about, is Trump? But to me, it's not about that because of how the media has displayed. They just focus on Trump, and it is about both sides. They don't touch upon Biden. They don't talk about Biden. And when you look at his policies, like my friend mentioned, if Trump he would not be passing policies. He wouldn't even give $1 to these black universities. If he truly had this, it's an intention of the heart. And I'll go out and I'll step out and say, I'm sure everybody here has said something in their life. That doesn't make you, it's kind of like if you weigh 400 pounds and you eat celery, you're not skinny. All these examples that you're talking about are from years and years ago. What has he done that's in the last maybe 5-10 years?
10 years ago, 2014, Trump was actively proponing Barack Obama's birther myth, the idea that he was not born in
But
the
you already
US.
said that example. Give me something new, because that's...
Okay, fine. Yeah, sure. I mean, you're asking for some of the last 5 to 10 years. That was 10 years ago. I thought that I'd just go over that again.
Okay.
Another reason why I wanted to go over that again with you is because how intuitively it is, right? Denying or saying that a black man should have less opportunity because of the color of his skin is very obviously...
When did he make that comment?
Yeah, so the whole birther myth with Barack Obama, right, essentially hoped to achieve that he wasn't born in the U.S., he was born in Kenya.
I mean, there's also one of my favorite ones is when he said that a Mexican-American judge, like an American judge of Mexican descent, could not adequately legislate or could not adequately adjudicate over his court proceedings because he was Mexican. That was, I mean, dude, there's so much. Like, Donald Trump is such a target-rich environment, you know?
Yeah, and because he's not a U.S.-born citizen, he shouldn't have the opportunity to run for U.S. president. The only reason he said that is because of the color of Barack Obama's skin.
But has he explicitly said he said that specifically because he's black, or are you just taking that assumption?
Okay, so what else? What explanation do we have here?
I've said everything I need to say. I'm waiting on you.
Okay, so I mean, well, yeah, I think that looking at Barack Obama, saying that he was born in Africa and then even denying his birth certificate from Hawaii, still like attributing his birth to Africa, I don't really see any other explanation apart from that, besides the fact that Barack Obama has black skin. And then another example
that's
from
also a comment. That wasn't an action. That was a comment.
Okay.
What action has he taken part in the last 5-10 years that have been against not even just blacks, against other races?
All right, first, I don't think that we should call like African Americans like blacks. I think that's a dehumanizing word. But
Okay.
Second
That's
of all,
your opinion, but
okay, sorry. Second of all, right, even if we look at like the last month or two, I'd say that saying Kamala Harris, right, quote unquote, turned black, implying that she wasn't black prior. That's another comment. We could also reference that as a
because she
debate.
plays with that. One day she's Indian, one day she's black.
That's not true.
Hello.
Howdy.
Very nice to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well.
So, you're looking back at Donald Trump's history. One thing I do want to say, I don't know if you are aware, Palm Beach didn't used to let African Americans there. Donald Trump sued the city of Palm Beach to allow black membership at Mar-a-Lago. That is not. I think one of the problems that we have a lot on the left, every time there's a disagreement, we get thrown, you're a sexist, you're this, you're that. And it dissolves the discussions that we should be having on policies. Secondly, Donald Trump worked with Senator Scott to create opportunity zones in black communities. If he was truly it's not something that he would do. So I think the whole premise is he's a sexist, takes away from policy positions that we should be discussing. If we go to the border and we talk about rapists, and yeah, they are happening. Laken Riley is now dead. We have 300,000 missing migrant children known sold into the sex trade, per the last IG report. These are important issues. Our economy is important issues.
You mind if I ask you a question?
Absolutely,
Are you a U.S. born citizen?
100%.
You are statistically speaking 4 times more likely to commit a violent crime than an undocumented migrant. So when you kind
They
of
shouldn't
virtue
be
signal
here.
on behalf of that.
They shouldn't be here.
Okay. All right.
And America, and my husband's an immigrant,
Okay, yeah, but
a
then
legal
also.
immigrant.
Wait,
Okay.
Who
wait, what? Wait, is she saying and he shouldn't be here? Like what? Oh, she said legal. Okay, my bad. For a second, I thought she was just leaking. You know, it's like, yeah, my husband is an illegal immigrant and he should not be in this country. You know what I mean?
came here legally.
Okay, I understand
We've
that
got
you wanna-
100 ISIS in our country right now that was reported. We've got gotaways. We've got Tende Deragua. I've interviewed Oscar Blue, who's been through the Darien Gap 4 times. People are dying.
Okay, so you're saying that we have a crisis at the southern border.
Well, I'm saying that you're saying that
Yeah.
Donald Trump loves America.
Okay. Well, first of all,
And
I
he
want
puts
to
Americans first.
I want to ask you one simple question first, and maybe we could get back to the prompt. Do you think that we have a crisis at the southern border today?
100%.
So you'd say that we also had a crisis at the southern border at the end of Trump's term because we have the same amount of
Actually,
daily
we have
crossings today than them?
No, we do not have
Yes,
the
we
same
have
amount
about
of crossings.
2,400 crossings
no, that is
today
not true.
than under Biden's executive order.
14,000 crossings a day. The Biden-Harris administration put us back into what's called the Global Compact of Migration. They are now using an app where they use our refugee resettlement program to fly people into our country to different states. So for you to say that the Trump administration that did not have catch and release, that is not, and Biden put it back in. And then we also had remain in Mexico, which on day 1 of Biden's administration,
It's just mental illness. I mean, yeah, that's like 90% of right-wing commentary. Most of what holds the Republican right together is just that.
wiped out.
Because it was ineffective. I mean, we can
Oh,
look
it
at,
was very
Do
effective.
you mind if I talk real quick?
It's just propaganda. It's what you've heard from CNN and MSNBC.
Actually, how about I provide you a source that isn't CNN, isn't MSNBC, and it's actually a source.
Yeah, by the way, she's talking about illegal immigration being a problem, but her examples are of legal immigration, which includes her husband, which is why a lot of these people play fast and loose with the truth. Okay? Like, for her, she does not understand the fundamental reality that the difference between a legal immigrant and an illegal immigrant is just paperwork. Okay? And the difference between her and a legal or illegal immigrant is simply the amount of time that she has spent on U.S. soil. That's usually the difference. Because at a certain point, her family members came not from America. Okay? So obviously, this entire argument is cooked. This is precisely the reason why it is hilarious and also openly. Whenever Republicans will be like, I don't care that they're legally here. It's because Kamala waved the wand. That's what J.D. Vance said, right? That's what J.D. Vance said. She met her husband, is a felon. Ain't no way. Wait, what? God damn it, dude. Oh, my Lord. Top of the hour streamer. Thanks, man. Republicans have gotten way more comfortable with their narratives, and that's why they now say these things. That's why they now openly say these things like even legal immigrants should be made illegal. Because there's no real like economic reason or purpose or anything like this. It's just simply pure animus, pure hatred. Okay? Anyway, speaking of pure hatred, the 3-minute ad break is upon us. You guys cooked me. Here it is.
Source from Donald Trump's rally. So remember when Donald Trump got shot in his ear? What did he have behind him?
It was the chart that showed the lowest crossings in history.
Do you mind if I talk about that chart?
I
So
have the chart. Should we bring it out?
You have the chart with you?
Yeah, I do.
Bring the chart out.
Can you hand me my purse, someone?
Like you have an actual picture of the chart?
I do.
Phenomenal. Let's look at the chart. She's prepared. This is great.
By the way, this entire time she's been like saying some of the most insane, unhinged. Okay. Only 2 people have raised a red flag. Like the quality control from Republicans against other Republicans. This is like a more holistic approach to the subject matter here. But I do find it really interesting because we watched the Charlie Kirk video, which is a professional political pundit going up against like a bunch of TikTokers at the most. and just like random liberals at best, right? And in that situation, the way that other liberals that were waiting to talk to Charlie Kirk were definitely trying to speak over one another, were flagging each other over and over again, right? Whereas like the conservatives, as long as you say the words, it doesn't matter to them. Does that make sense? As long as you say the words, it doesn't really matter. They're letting her cook. They're letting her sit there and say whatever the she wants. Doesn't matter if it sounds unhinged. Conservatives don't believe in debate. They understand they win by just not raising the flag. Why do liberals think this can be done in good faith? They revel in bad faith. Yeah. You are also not going to hear a diversity of opinion on this. Maybe a little bit, but not to the same degree as all the liberals that had so many different perspectives that they wanted to tackle the issue from. It goes to show the ease in which it is to become a conservative spokesperson. Make no mistake, this is not a targeted, deliberate effort to instill some kind of messaging discipline. It is simply because the talking points rely on pre-existing hurt and harm for the most part, and they almost always appeal to the lowest common denominator. And the talking points are also, do you understand?
Oh, it's on your phone. I thought that you had like an
Well,
actual.
it's a picture. We can hold it up to the camera if they want to see it.
Okay, well, I mean, well, maybe we could just reference the data on that chart. So you're referencing the Remain in Mexico policy. So that was one of Donald Trump's day ones. He only had increasing border numbers until the day he signed Title 42 into effect. Year by year, they only increase.
Is
the
that
Remain
why
in Mexico policy, the wall, it was all incredibly ineffective border legislation. He couldn't get Congress together to pass anything, so then he had to reappropriate
That's
DOD
not
funds to
true.
build the wall.
That's not true. Congress passed H.R. 2. It's been sitting on Chuck Schumer's desk since May of 2023. It was the one bill that would secure the border. Border Patrol has endorsed President Trump. Law enforcement has endorsed President Trump.
Okay.
The Biden administration and the Harris administration have failed this nation, and they have allowed this invasion of our country, and Americans are dying. And sorry, these gang members should not be here.
I have a question. So what do you say if we had an undocumented migrant that was like a felon?
So here's the situation. Here's the problem also. Like, it takes no effort to just tell a lie, but an untold amount of effort, countless hours to tell the truth. Correcting the record in these situations is going to be quite difficult to engage with, especially in a quick manner, right? It's difficult. It's always a very difficult task, which is, you know, part of the problem here as well.
A sexual abuser, right, a violent offender, that they shouldn't be allowed in the country?
100%. None of these people should be without process.
Okay, so my question to you would be, well, then why do you want a criminal, felon, sexual abuser to run the country?
Because I believe that we're suffering from an extreme case of lawfare, which I can.
Bro, she was way too quick in retaliating to that. Like, that's shocking, because I think he did a good job. I think he did a good job with that line. That was a bar. But she literally didn't even flinch, dude. She was like, yeah, I don't give a yeah, he's a rapist and I love him. He's my rapist. Like,
Prove. And, you know, when you look at, let's take, for instance, the New York case, the one that he's going to probably go to jail for, even though he's not guilty.
The 34 felonies?
The 34 felonies that they changed the statute of limitations in order to prosecute him.
Oh,
that they
no, you have your
changed.
case is confused. So they didn't change any statute of
Oh,
limitations?
yes, they did.
1 second.
Oh, yes,
I know what
they
you're
did.
referencing. If you'll just allow
Oh,
me 30,
yes, they did.
You'll just allow me
But
30
not
seconds.
only
Do you mind if I
that-
just have 30 seconds real quick?
Well, we only have 40 seconds left.
I just
so
want to
no,
clarify.
You can't have
They didn't
30
change-
seconds. You've
it-
got the seat the whole time.
Okay, we have 35 seconds left. What were his felonies for?
Okay, so let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the plain and simple fact that they moved the number 3 from Biden's DOJ to a state case. Let's talk about the fact that Mark Pomerantz, who worked in the Biden administration, basically pled the fifth 6 times when he said that he was talking to Bragg. And he would not talk about that. Alvin Bragg ran on getting Trump. Let's talk about Judge Merchant's daughter, Laura, who's making millions for the Harris administration and the Biden administration right now in order to prosecute Trump. That is recusal. It's going to get dropped at the Supreme Court. Alvin Bragg should have recused himself. Judge Merchant should have recused himself.
I like your power. My next claim is Donald Trump doesn't care about the American people.
I completely disagree with.
wait, it's the same guy again? What is happening, bro? Dude, God, conservatives are such